Hello, we're here today with Dr. Graciela Chichilnisky. My name is Andy Binker-Cosen from 21stocks.com, and we're finishing off an interview on environmental economics. Dr. Chichilnisky is one of the best minds in this subject because she's the author of the carbon market and the Kyoto Protocol, apart from a long list of other accomplishments. And well, Dr. Chichilnisky, tell me, with rising food prices and natural resources and all commodities for that matter rising in price worldwide, do you think that in the near future industry-based economies and developed nations will in a way be dependent or at the mercy of developing nations that have natural resources and an agriculture-based economy?
Well, it's a little bit more subtle than that. The developing nations, as you pointed out, have a lot more commodities. In fact, the biggest commodities exporters are in the developing nations. 70% of all the exports of Latin America, South America, today, 70% are raw materials. And in the case of Africa, it's closer to 90%. So, yes, you're right, if you want to think of it this way. However, what is more interesting is that the developing nations are now running the world economy. In fact, since the year 2000, the developing nations have become the biggest force of growth in the world economy. 60% of all the economic growth in the world economy since the year 2000 originated in developing nations. So really, the dynamics of the world economy now is no longer in the industrial nations. Since 2000 and on, it has been, and it continues to be, more and more so in the developing nations.
And one last question to end their interview. When Columbus arrived in America, he found this new land that eventually became the New World, so to speak, and there was a big scramble for America because of all its natural resources. Later on, there was a big scramble for Africa because, again, of its natural resources. Do you think if we, so to speak, lose against global warming and temperatures rise, the polar ices melt, the sea levels rise and populated regions become uninhabitable, that there's any chance that Antarctica will be the next new world and that Antarctica will be, so to speak, the place to be?
Yes, certainly. As a matter of fact, the Arctic is already undergoing a major transformation because they have discovered a lot of oil resources and other resources in the Arctic, and the Arctic ice is melting very quickly. So that is already happening in the Arctic. So of course, it will also happen in the Antarctic. But by the time the polar caps melt completely, you will have over 100 feet of increase in many areas of the level of the sea. And that will be almost catastrophic. So we're going to have very major changes occurring, while at the same time the Arctic and the Antarctic become powerful regions in economic terms. So it's not only going in one direction, it's going in two directions. We are going to have increasing volatility, more risks. The OECD computes that they expect that there will be approximately $30 trillion in losses to the main cities out of the increase in the sea level in the next 20-30 years, with the biggest changes occurring in cities such as Miami with 3.2 trillion in losses and Shanghai with 2.6. This is a report from the OECD that was published in Paris last year. The impact of global climate change on the largest cities in the world. So by the time you have this type of losses, you are really looking at a completely different world economy. And one of the changes will be the role of the Arctic and the Antarctic, but another change will be that many of the cities that we're looking at right now, like important cultural and economic centers, for example, New York, will be underwater.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chichilnisky. It was a real pleasure. This has been a great interview. My name is Andy Binker-Cosen from 21 Stocks.